When I walk the paths of the Quarry Hill Nature Center in Rochester, Minnesota, I'm transported to the embrace of forests from my past. My name is Ashley, and almost a decade ago, I lived and worked at a nonprofit bed and breakfast nestled in the mountains of West Virginia. Our guests were families visiting inmates at the Alderson Federal Prison. Taking reservations, cooking meals, cleaning bathrooms, and having conversations allowed me to support a community of individuals navigating tough situations. Overwhelmingly, people cited community as the reason they chose to stay at the Alderson Hospitality House, even if they could afford to stay at the nearby Greenbrier Resort. Working as a full-time volunteer in West Virginia for 3 years might have always been in the cards for my life, but the decision, along with eventually choosing to become a high school English teacher, was spurred by my self-imposed need to repay an invisible debt. 24 years ago, I survived leukemia, and I've spent a lot of time since trying to give back to society. Last year, after 8 years of teaching, I felt like I was giving more to my communities than they were gaining. I made the difficult decision to pause my teaching career to focus on writing and exploring the simple things that truly make life full. Shortly after making that decision, the universe confirmed it with a second cancer diagnosis: breast cancer. This time, a much more straightforward treatment with a far better prognosis. I'm 35, I don't have a genetic predisposition to breast cancer, and I don't have any of the health risk factors. But I did have radiation to the chest area as a child, a treatment needed to save my life. Friends and family wanted to feel sorry for me. They said it stinks and that I didn't deserve the grueling experience once, let alone twice. And there are days I also dwell on those things, but that mentality doesn't serve me well for long. On my initial radiation planning visit in early August, my mom and I walked past the Hope Lodge, checking it out as a housing option for my upcoming weeks of treatment. A lot of people might pass up the opportunity to stay at a place like Hope Lodge in favor of a cookie-cutter hotel or a lonely furnished apartment. I knew the possibilities of staying at a place that catered to a specific population. Hope Lodge is the same basic idea as my former gig at the Alderson Hospitality House. Staying at Hope Lodge meant I was in the heart of Rochester, and I pledged to not watch much TV and to instead experience all I could. There was different flora and fauna to seek out, fabulous local dining to support, and even though art and music venues were closed due to COVID, I spent many hours viewing the world-class art displayed at the Mayo Clinic campus. Back at Hope Lodge, there were friendships to be formed and games of Catan to be played. Wherein at one point in my life, I felt the only way I could contribute was to live a life of tireless service, my stay in Rochester helped propel my recognition that appreciating and savoring all of the good in my life could do so much more. This simple and free experience of reading a book by a fountain and flower garden puts joy into the world, and it models the fact that some circumstances in life can't be avoided, but when we can, we should make decisions to shape those stories. 3 weeks into my stay, my blissful walks and frozen lattes served a more pressing purpose. A late-night call from my husband informed me that my mom was being flown across the state of South Dakota to a university medical center to be treated for a ruptured brain aneurysm. Knowing that I was comfortable, safe, and surrounded by kind souls helped my family focus on my mom's healing. The relaxing and engaging routine I'd been able to establish while at Hope Lodge calmed my anxiety about the situation when I had to return to Rochester for treatments after visiting my mom. I thought I might do more writing when I was at Hope Lodge, but as it turns out, the time encompassing my stay is turning out to be a story in itself, and the late August flowers and foliage of Rochester beckoned for me more than the keyboard. We never know when life will shift its shape, so doing as much as we can to establish a foundation of habits and stress-relieving strategies when we can goes a long way. Choosing to stay at Hope Lodge was one of those decisions, and I'll forever be grateful for the people who have and continue to work to make that an option.